Blog Talk Radio.
Everyone, welcome to the Pick-A-Lillion Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. It's week 3. I'm the commish. I'm here to help you with your stardom and sit-ems today for week 3. Help your get your lineup straight. We're going to be taking calls this whole hour. You can give us a call toll free today, 1-877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, you can drop us a line, 347-539-5402, or you can always come in here and enter the chat room, and we'll help you out with any stardom and sit-em questions. Guys, got a lot of injuries to go over today, so I want to make sure everyone gets their lineup straight moving forward. Cardinals starting quarterback John Skelton is very questionable with the ankle. Looks like Kevin Cobb will get the start for him today. So hopefully none of you have either on your fantasy team. Ryan Matthews, who we all know had the broken collarbone, is questionable, but did take most of the first team snaps during the week. Did practice Friday, and you know what I always say: if you practice Friday, generally you know what you play on Sunday. So I think he'll be a little bit limited today as he moves forward, so I would be a little cautious starting him. Hopefully you have a little bit better options. I'd like to see how he does moving forward. Let's see, what else do we have here? Looks like Fred Jackson's still out this week. C.J. Spiller will get the start. He's got a great matchup today. If you have C.J. Spiller, I absolutely think you start him. Make sure you get him in your lineup this week. He's definitely a great play. Spiller's, let's see, who the heck is he playing? He's going up against Cleveland. And guess what? Very beatable matchup for him. Definitely a guy you want to get in your lineup this week. Also, it looks like Monday night, James Starks did see some light work, but it's still considered doubtful, so you're still good to go with Cedric Benson moving forward this Monday night. Make sure if you need him, hopefully you only have him like as a flex position on your team, and you can play him Monday. It's got a decent matchup against, I believe they're playing Seattle this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Let's see what else we have. The Rams starting running back Steven Jackson, questionable today with the groin. Did practice Friday, but he will be a game-time decision. Darrell Richardson will get the start. I like Richardson today if you need him. I know they're playing the Bears, but I think he filled in admirably last week, and he was a little explosive. I think you'll get a similar type production out of him this week if you need him in your lineup. Also, Antonio Gates on most of the reps this week. He fooled a lot of us last week, did not play. If you have a better option, I'd like to see Gates, see how he does this week before I put him back in my starting lineup. Look for Randy McMichael and Dante Rosario to split time in his absence. Jeremy Maclin out this week with the hip pointer. I look to see a lot of Jason Avant and rookie Demarius Johnson, which is an interesting play here this week. We'll see what kind of player this kid is. Could be a big waiver wire pickup moving forward if he has a decent day against a good matchup with the Arizona Cardinals. As we all know, Aaron Hernandez is out. They're looking at signing Kellen Winslow, so we'll see how that does for the Belichick and the Patriots 2 tight end offense. That could be good news for Wes Welker, who has had a horrible week 1, decent week 2. Should come back pretty strong this week. Finally, on the injuries, we got Marcus Colston. He's questionable with the foot injury. Did see some light work Friday. Is expected to start. Clearly not 100%, but he is moving around enough to play. Guess what, guys? if he plays, I think you got to get him in your lineup. The Saints have a pretty decent matchup this week. I don't think the Saints go 0-3 by any stretch of the imagination. I think Breeze ends up having a great day. They are at home. They go against the Chiefs. It's an early game. So I think if you have Colson, you got to play him. I think he gets into the end zone. Hey, guys, we got the phone lines open, 877-511-1024. We also have if you have a Skype line, you can drop us a line at 347-539-5402. You can always come into the Blog Talk chat room. We'll help answer any questions you may have to help you get your starting lineups in this week. This morning on the we do the ESPN radio show on 973 ESPN.com. For those of you who are not in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area, I'm going to go through some of the pick'em picks of the week. The professor I gave you some good players to target. We already know. Make sure you always start your Tom Brady's and your Drew Breeses and things. These are guys that are maybe a little more down the list that have some decent matchups, and you might want to get into your lineup. I got Jay Cutler versus the Rams this week. I think he bounces back after a horrible week that he had last week. Rams defense just is, putrid. So I think Cutler can end up putting up some decent numbers. I like Alex Smith this week going up against Minnesota. He's been getting it done. The secondary of those Vikes really are not too good. I like him to get 2 touchdowns this week. And we got Ryan Fitzpatrick with Cleveland. He's going up against Cleveland, and the Browns defense still does not have suspended corner Joe Hayden back. So that makes for a good matchup there for Fitzpatrick. Professor gave us Andrew Luck with the Jags. Jags defense just horrible. I actually like Luck for a couple TDs today. Castle goes up against the Saints. You know what? Big garbage time production. Castle's going to give you some decent fantasy points as the week moves on, or as this Sunday moves on. And then, of course, you had Ben Roethlisberger versus the Raiders. Raiders just not getting it done on defense this year so far. Ben should put up some pretty decent numbers. Guys, if you got any questions in our chat room, please feel free to ask away. We'll help you out with your any of your starter sit questions, line of questions, trade questions. You can also give us a call, 877-511-1024. Skype line, drop us a line, 347-539-5422. I'll be opening up the phone lines when we get back after a word from our sponsors.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat. Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start on Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window fill. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Fantasy football owners, it's draft time, and KickassFantasyFootball.com makes it easy.
How do we make it easy?
Projections from the experts, cheat sheets with your scoring rules.
What else?
Articles all season long, waiver wire picks, trade advice, everything you need to win a championship.
How about a free judgment from FantasyJudgment.com, a $15 value?
Now we're talking.
Subscribe today for just $9.95, and we'll throw in a complimentary cruise for two to the Bahamas.
Cruise to a championship with KickassFantasyFootball.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Piccolo and Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry Brick, the Commish. I'm here to help you with any of your stardom and cinema lineups. We have the phone lines open. You can call in right now, 877-511-1024. That's toll free. Also, if you have a Skype line, drop us a line, 347-539-5402. Of course, you can always enter our chat room. We always got a lot of guys in there, got a lot of questions. Got our first question from Jokers99. He's got a PPR question. He needs two wide receivers and a flex. Looks like you got Jordy Nelson, Mike Wallace, Demaryius Thomas, Amendola, Lynch, Alfred Morris, Kevin Smith. Wow. PPR, you gotta like Jordy Nelson with Greg Jennings in the DAP Plus. They're playing on Monday Night Football. I'm a big proponent of that. I think these guys get up and play big games when they are in the spotlight. Mike Wallace is a downfield threat. I like the matchup that he has today. I think Wallace is going to put up some big numbers against. I believe they got the Raiders today, right? Yep. And Danny Amendola. You're talking about a PPR league. Who else is targeted more on that team? Nobody. So my three guys would probably be Nelson, Wallace, Amendola here. So, Jokers, thanks for the question. Then we have, DJ Colby has a McCluster or Dow Richardson in desperation start. Wow. Guess what? If Jackson isn't playing, Dow Richardson is definitely the guy. Otherwise, you got to go McCluster. Yeah, sitting the beast, Jokers. Yes. You're talking about a PPR league. You're playing on you're playing on Monday Night. Beast isn't going to catch a ton of balls. He's still aching with this lower back injury. I'm not real excited about it. I think Green Bay's going to get up on him so big they're not going to be able to run the ball anyway. So it's going to kind of limit the Beast a little bit this week. So that's where I'm at on that. So thanks for the questions. Keep them coming in. You could remember you could always give us a call here 877-511-1024. Guys, I want to bring in a very special guest. He's from FantasyPlayerExchange.com. We do a game that we play every Sunday. You can go to FPX.com, FantasyPlayerExchange.com. It's a great game called Beat the Commish. And who do I have on? Is this Gary or Victor?
This is Victor. How you doing?
Victor, thanks for coming on the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. We've been playing the Beat the Commish game now for a couple weeks. Week 1, I didn't do so hot. Last week, I saved some face. I ended up coming in second. I'm ready for this week. Tell all our listeners out there what the Beat the Commish game is.
Sure. Well, the Beat the Commish game is exactly what it sounds like. Everybody's trying to beat you. And the way they do that is our game is set up, it's a multi-sport daily game, and you can pick any players that are active, and the way that your game is set up is on the Sunday. And any player from any sport that's active, so you can have Derek Jeter, Aaron Rodgers, whoever is active in that single game day. And at that point, the idea behind it, whoever has the highest return on investment, which is how much they made divided by how much you paid for it. Last week, you were number 2. You had a 42% return on investment, which is really good, actually. The person who did beat you, though, was 58%, and they had their name was Commissions Going Down. They won the $50 last week. But it's a weekly game, $50 cash prize, whoever's number 1 who has the highest percent over you. And then at the end of the 17-week football season, we give $1,000 cash whoever had the highest percentage for the entire game.
That's awesome, Victor. And it's $2 to play, which that's just awesome. And not only can you play Sunday against me, Beat the Commish, really you can play every day as long as there's games going on because you're a multi-sport fantasy. Is that correct? You just picked up college, I understand, right?
Yep. We actually just this past weekend we started college, so we have all top games. We right now we have all the Division I games. So you have like Notre Dame, you have Ohio State, any top team. you can have any player from those teams included on your Saturday games. So if you had a baseball league going right now, Saturdays right now we only had baseball players active. Now you can throw in your college players, and that'll be through the whole season. Once baseball season dies out, you'll have people to play on Saturdays, which is a great deal. And then looking forward in the next month or so, when professional basketball starts, you're going to have all NBA players that you can use. So that'll add to your team also.
Wow, that is awesome. So basically, you can, with your site at fantasyplayerexchange.com, you can play fantasy basically all year round.
Correct, all year round, any day of the week. The goal is to get further and further with more sports down the line. But right now, we're slowly, like you said, showing more and more sports. And right now, the 4 majors and now college is what we're shooting for. And I think it's a great opportunity. Especially, this is looking down the line, but bowl season, you can have, in December and January, there's games every second of the day, So you can have college players playing every single day for like 4 weeks.
Wow, that's awesome. I love those bowl games, too. So, I'll be playing on the fantasyplayerexchange.com site. That is just awesome. I'm in to win some cash, and guess what? It costs you as little as $2. Victor, thanks so much for coming on. To let everybody know again where to go to play the Beat the Commish game.
Sure. If everybody logs on to fantasyplayerexchange.com, there'll be a little link right on the top that says Beat the Commish. Click on that, and it's only $2 to enter every single Sunday. Otherwise, you can play a daily game for as minimum as a daily free roll, or you can pay a minimum of $1 a game.
Wow, that is awesome. Victor, thanks so much for coming on. We'd like to have you on again next week. We'll have you right here on Block Talk Radio, and even, of course, you can catch Victor on our ESPN show at 97.3ESPN.com. That's on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Victor, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks a lot for having me. Have a great day.
Right, you too, sir.
Bye.
All right, guys, we got a lot of fantasy to talk about. Big day in football, Week 3. Matchups are here. St. Louis Rams play against the Chicago Bears. You got to like Jay Cutler in this one. I talked a little bit about that earlier. He's got a great matchup against the Rams. We got let's see. What I'm going to do. I talked a little about quarterbacks earlier. Let's get into some wide receiver play. How about Mike Wallace this week going up against Oakland? I mentioned that with our chat room guy, the Jokers. Mike Wallace. Guess what? Brian Hartline blew it up against Oakland last week. I think Wallace is a better receiver. I think he definitely goes off here. I got Malcolm Floyd against Atlanta. They're out without top corner Grimes. Floyd has been getting targeted a ton. He went 6 catches for 109 yards and one touchdown last week. Definitely a guy you want to keep in your lineup this week. And guess what, guys? Lance Moore faces the Chiefs secondary, who gives up touchdowns regularly. So, I think Moore actually moves into that second receiver position moving forward. So, definitely a guy you want to get into your lineup. Looking at some of what the professor put down here, Stevie Johnson versus the Browns. Browns allowing over 300 yards passing, and Steven Johnson has the most targets on that Buffalo team. So definitely a guy you want to have in your lineup. Des Bryant, a guy I actually just traded for today in one of my leagues. He goes up against the Bucks. The Bucks got blasted for 500 yards last week. So look forward to, just blow it up and have a great game here against the Bucks. He also likes Antonio Brown versus the Jets. Revis, let's see, Antonio Brown versus the Jets. I don't know if I'm liking that one too much, guys. As a matter of fact, he's not playing the Jets. He's playing Oakland. The notes from the professor, not too good, guys. Sorry about that. Moving on to running backs, I got Kevin Smith versus the Tennessee Titans. Yes, Mike LaSure is back this week. I don't see the Lions giving them a ton of touches, so I like Kevin Smith for a start. The Titans giving up the 4th most fantasy points to running backs. So make sure you keep that in mind. Kevin Smith's a decent start against the Titans. Love Donald Brown today against the Jags. The Jags really don't have much of a defense. And I know Brown hasn't been getting it done so much lately, but the Jags are the worst against the run moving forward here. So if you got him, you need him as an RB. I like him as an RB, as high as an RB2 this week. Jamal Charles, another intriguing start. He goes up against the Saints this week. He did leave the game last week with the that nagging knee injury against Seattle. Could have returned, but guess what? This week he plays a much more forgiving defense to showcase his skills. So I like Jamal Charles to get something done this week moving forward. Okay. Now, when I want to go back to the what the professor has here for some of his running backs. He went with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, the law firm, goes up against the Redskins. The Redskins, he has got a rack boat here, obviously out for the year. They allowed Dow Richardson last week to do some damage. Look for the law firm to have has a pretty decent matchup. He likes Doug Martin against Dallas. Dallas's defense against the run has not been stellar. You know, they get those top corners, could shut down the pass pretty good, but tough to stop the run there. So Martin, a good play. And guess what? Jones-Drew going against the Colts. And guess what? Since he's been a rookie, Jones-Drew's owned them. If you got Jones-Drew, definitely a guy you want to get into your lineup. Guys, I'm going to go over some more matchups when we get back. So stay tuned. If you got any lineup questions, start them, set them questions, any trade questions. I'll have the phone lines open when we get back, 877-511-1024. You're listening to the Pickle-Alien Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Fantasy football owners, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show is back every Sunday this season with everything you need to cruise into a championship. Join me, the professor,
and me, the commish, along with fantasy insider Matt Lowry. Get all your fantasy football news as we break down all the players and tell you who to start and who to trade while we take your calls all show long.
We'll see you every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. all season long here on 97.3 ESPN. Check us out on the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat. Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start on Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window film. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry Brick, the Commish. We're breaking down week 3 here for you, try to help you with any of your stardom or sit-em lineups today. Make sure we get that roster straight to help you win a championship. We got a little bit of breaking news. If you haven't heard, Torrey Smith's brother dies in an apparent motorcycle accident last night. Tells Coach Harbaugh he does want to play after his brother suffered this horrible tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Smith family. So Torrey Smith, geez, what a horrible thing to go through, guys. You know what? Anybody who wants to play through that is probably going to be playing with a big chip on his shoulder. I hate to say it, but if you got him, start him today. how about hopefully you guys follow us on Twitter. Watch for our tweets on the from Kick-Ass Fantasy Football, where we're always going to put out who you should definitely play in those Thursday night games. I tweeted out there to make sure you get Andre Brown in your lineup. He paid off big time, 113 yards rushing, 2 TDs. And the professor has actually tweeted about Ramses Barden. So we had you covered for both angles. You can always check us out on the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. We got updated projections, injury reports, target reports. We have some great articles on who to trade for during the week. We help you on every angle and able to help you get your team straight so you can win each week and help guide you to a championship. All right, guys, I want to get into some Week 3 plays here, some matchups we got. The Bengals at Washington, 1 o'clock game. Like this matchup for RG3. Bengals have been giving up a ton of yardage through the air. And RG3, in my opinion, could end up being one of the top fantasy producing quarterbacks of the year. Love him this week. Great matchup. On the other side of the ball, Andy Dalton definitely has a good shot to get it done today. If you have him, not a bad play here against the Washington Redskins. AJ Green has certainly been a guy who's been targeted early and often, but another guy we're talking about is A.J. Hawkins. Here's a guy who's definitely been getting a lot of targets, especially with all the attention being paid to A.J. Green. So here's a guy you could, if you haven't picked him up already off the waiver wire, not a bad guy to target. He's been out producing some of your top receivers who we all drafted probably a little bit too early and have been out because of injury or just some tough matchups. So definitely a guy you want to take a look at. Moving on, we have the Detroit Lions at the Tennessee Titans. You got to love Megatron here today. Megatron is due for a touchdown, by the way. I know he's, I've always talked about this Madden curse early in the preseason, and he's been having nagging injuries. He's on the injury report during the week. So here's a guy that I think finally is going to find the end zone against Tennessee today. And on the other side of the ball, let's look at Chris Johnson. What a terrible disappointment. This guy's just been letting fantasy owners down now for the past, 2 or 3 years. Just horrible play. If he can't get it done this week, and guess what? Even though Detroit has a decent defense, you can run on them. They're the kind of defense that likes to pin your ears back and go after that quarterback. Although teams have been stacking the box against him, he's got to get it done today. This, to me, is the last shot he has to prove to me that he could play fantasy for me on my team. If not, I'm going to be ready to punt right after this game today versus the Lions. We got the Chiefs going up against the Saints today. I'm loving Jamal Charles against the Saints. Charles has been very lackluster so far. Got a great matchup against the Saints. The Saints defense is just horrible. So I think he has a chance to go off. I love Dwayne Bowe here. I talked about Professor Love and Matt Castle. Some great fantasy starts there. Breeze has got to be in your lineup every week. Lance Moore's a guy I think he'll be targeting early, often. Colston, like I said, if he's playing, which it looks like he is, should be a good play. Not in love with the running back situation there. To me, it's muddy waters. You got Sproles, you got Ingram, you got Pierre Thomas. Who's going to get the ball this week? I don't know. I'm staying away from that whole situation if I can help it. Moving on, we got the 49ers at the Vikings. Listen, love Adrian Peterson. I think it's amazing that he's come back from this ACL, MCL injury as well as he has shown so far. But guess what? They're playing the 49ers, probably the best defense the NFL has to offer right now. If you got them, you can try to find a replacement. Patrick Willis going up against Peterson, I'm thinking here. Okay, guys, so make sure you look for that moving forward here. I do like Smith, the quarterback for the Niners. I think he can get a couple touchdowns here. I think he could do some damage if he needs him. Very serviceable as a starting quarterback so far this fantasy season. So good stuff. Percy Harvin on the other side of the ball might be a guy that might be things done. So something to look out for. Moving on, we got the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. Tough matchup for Miami. Forget about Hartline, who blew it up last week. Reggie Bush is that fantasy team there. Is that guy on the Miami Dolphins for fantasy. If you have any shot to get anything done, it's Reggie Bush against the Jets today. On the other side of the ball, guess what? Antonio Holmes. I like him. I think he has a shot at doing some damage against Miami. So with the craziness that they've gone through, with the Tebow thing and everything, I think Sanchez can find Santonio for at least one touchdown today. Then we got Buffalo at Cleveland. Very interesting matchup. I think Fitzpatrick could do put up some decent numbers to Stevie Johnson today. I like Trent Richardson today to run the ball well against Buffalo. Great fantasy starts there. Moving on, we got Tampa Bay at Dallas. Guess what? Dallas and Romo are poised to have a big day. Dez Bryant, Austin Miles, Jason Witten, all these guys, please make sure they are in your lineup today. I think could put up some great numbers. Doug Martin, the professor, likes to running the ball. Those top corners will be shutting down Vijay today, and on the other side they got Mike Williams. So it leaves the middle of the field open for, guess who? Tight end Dallas Clark. Remember him? He used to play for the Colts. He is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So definitely a guy you want to consider if you need help at the tight end position. All right, guys. We got a little over 20 minutes left in the show. Got a lot more matchups to go over. I got the phone lines open, 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, drop me a line, 347-539-5402. You can always join us in our chat room. I'll help you out with any of your stardom, sit-em questions, line-up questions, whatever you need. We'll be back after these messages.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat. Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start in Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window film. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
Fantasy football owners, it's draft time, and kickassfantasyfootball.com makes it easy.
How do we make it easy?
Projections from the experts, cheat sheets with your scoring rules.
What else?
Articles all season long, waiver wire picks, trade advice, everything you need to win a championship.
How about a free judgment from fantasyjudgment.com, a $15 value?
Now we're talking.
Subscribe today for just $9.95. We'll throw in a complimentary cruise for 2 to the Bahamas.
Cruise to a championship with kickassfantasyfootball.com.
And welcome back to the Pickle-Alien Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry the Commish Brick, going over some matchups here for you. Try to help get your fantasy lineup going for Week 3, help your team get a win and guide you to a championship. Let's see, moving on, we have Jacksonville at the Colts today. Love MJD today, guys. You know, did the big holdout in the offseason. Goes up against the Colts, who he has owned since he's been a rookie. Definitely a great start. He's probably the only guy I would consider starting on the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. On the other side of the ball, we have Andrew Luck, number 1 pick in the draft. Jags defense are just absolutely horrible. I like Luck to get a couple touchdowns, one to Reggie Wayne and one to Mr. Donnie Avery. Now, Austin Colley's coming back off of the I don't know how many concussions he's had so far, but not a guy I'm looking for anyone to count on here. In my opinion, Colley is one hit away from being out of the NFL. It's just an unfortunate thing because the guy is so talented, has great hands, and has a lot of explosion, runs the ball real well. Just unfortunately, the guy's just fragile. So a guy I definitely would stay away from. I do love Donald Brown today. Donald Brown has not been much of anything thus far, but going up against the Jags today, I think could put up some great numbers for you. So I love him as high as an RB2 today. If you may have him sitting at a flex, great start as a flex position. Definitely a guy you want to consider putting in the lineup today. 4 o'clock games. We've got Atlanta at San Diego today. Listen, Matt Ryan on fire. Loved him in preseason. I have him on about 3 of my fantasy teams this year. He's been doing nothing but putting up stupid, huge numbers. And I think he continues that at San Diego today. Chargers defense has not done anything to impress me. He's throwing the ball at Julio Jones, Roddy White, and, of course, Gonzo. All great starts today. It's a shame because at the running back position, you can run on these Chargers. Michael Turner is just, I don't know if he's got it in him anymore. I'm looking for Jacquizz Rodgers to, at some point, take over the reins in the season. If you got him or if he's got on the waiver wire, not a bad guy to get and stash away until that happens. On the other side of the ball, we got Ryan Matthews coming back from the collarbone injury. He is due back to play this week. I'm not starting him. I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. I like to see how he plays. This injury is something that could be re-injured rather easily, I'm told. And I do want to see how he plays against Atlanta. I also think Atlanta can get up on him pretty big, so they may end up being limited to run the ball anyway here. So I think I'm going to wait and see as far as Ryan Matthews goes. Now, Mal Floyd, who Rivers will be thrown to, do like him today. I think he could put up some decent fantasy numbers if you need him at the wide receiver position. We also have, Philadelphia at Arizona. Kevin Cobb goes up against his old team here. Guess what? Kevin Cobb's going to be hugging his players. We talked a little bit about that on our ESPN show. That offensive line is just horrendous. Eagles love to go after the quarterback. I think you're going to be meeting him quite a bit today. The Eagles have, unfortunately, on the other side of the ball, Larry Fitzgerald has owned them in the past. So hopefully they come up with an answer for that today for the Eagles' sakes. LaShawn McCoy, guess what? I think will be limited in running the ball. One thing I will say about Arizona's defense, they are stout against the run. They will be without Jeremy Maclin. Look for Deshaun Jackson to put up some decent numbers today. I'm sure they're going to roll that safety over the top on him, so it'll be also interesting to see what tight end Brett Self does. I'm sure he'll continue putting up some decent numbers. And I guess Jason Avant will be taking over as far as where Maclin would normally play today. So, I like Deshaun Jackson as a start. I like Vic to put up some decent numbers today. And listen, if you got Fitzgerald, you drafted him high, you got to start him. Make sure he's in your lineup. Let's see, next matchup we got Pittsburgh at the Raiders. Listen, Darren McFadden, tough matchup today. Has not scored yet this season. He is due. They are going to try to feed him the ball. They are at home. This is a good thing. I don't know if Palomalu's playing, so I think Carson Palmer has a shot to put up some decent fantasy numbers. They've been liking to throw the ball, using him a lot, so it's good stuff. Pittsburgh Steelers on the other side, they're still a mess at running back. Mendenhall will not be playing today. You got Isaac Redman there. You got Dwyer there. They'll be splitting time. You gotta love Big Ben, Mike Wallace, Antonio Brown, all guys that should be in your starting lineup. Let's see what else we got here. On the Monday night game, I know we have Green Bay versus Seattle. You gotta like, of course, Aaron Rodgers there. Aaron Rodgers is a must-start every week. Jordy Nelson, another great start this week. I'm not real sure what's going to happen with Greg Jennings, and he's coming off this injury. I'm not real excited about him. If you don't have any other options, I guess I would start him. Seattle's defense is not terrible bad, so I'm a little worried there. I mentioned earlier, I think Green Bay goes up on top of them pretty big. Marshawn Lynch may be limited because they're going to have to abandon the run, and once that happens, I think the game's over. Not too much to talk about there with Seattle. I'm sorry, a couple of games I did miss. Houston at Denver, the last 4 o'clock game. Guess what? Peyton Manning's got coming off a 3-interception game at home, which is a good thing, but playing a tough defense with Houston. And in the past, he's not rebounded really great coming off 3-interception games. So I'm not loving the matchup here for Peyton Manning. Hopefully you have a better option at the quarterback position because Houston's defense is for real. I guess on the other side of the ball, guess what? Andre Johnson, love him, and it's hard to bench this guy, but he does have a difficult matchup. I was going to be seeing a lot of Champ Bailey today, so very difficult there. But guess what? They do have Aaron Foster, who is a stud, must start every week. And I like Owen Daniels to do some damage too against the Denver Broncos. The last game we have left to talk about, the New England Patriots at the Baltimore Ravens. You got Tom Brady going up against that tough Baltimore D. Baltimore's coming off that 1-point loss to Philadelphia. Baltimore's at home. New England has not been very impressive. They just lost Aaron Hernandez, which means they're going to have to abandon that 2 tight end offense. So I am liking Baltimore in this game. I'm loving Ray Rice to keep Tom Brady off the field. I think they're going to make sure they get the ball into Torrey Smith's hands, especially with the loss of his brother. They're going to be playing with a ton of emotion. Very, very hard to beat emotion like that, especially with Ray Lewis firing everybody up. So they're my starts there. Joe Flacco, probably a decent start if you need him. Brady, tough to bench. If I have Brady, I got to go with him. He's still a great quarterback. Wes Welker is an intriguing star here, especially with Aaron Hernandez out. I think they're going to get him involved a little bit more than they have. Certainly, Brandon Lloyd will remain the long ball guy, but they're the couple guys that I like. Of course, you got to like Gronkowski today, although Gronkowski goes up against Ed Reed, the safety, or Ray Lewis in the middle. So very difficult matchup here for them, no doubt about it. Stephen Ridley called it last week. He was my dud of the week last week. I said he wouldn't get to 80 yards. He didn't. He only had 71. I said that they would keep him out of the end zone. They did. I don't see him doing a lot today either. Ravens are a tough D. Do not like Ridley. Hopefully you have someone better to put in your starting lineup. All right, guys, we got a few more things to go over. We got a few minutes left in the show. I have the phone lines open, 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, drop me a line at 347-539-5402. Or you can always come in here to the chat room, ask us any questions you may have about anything you want. Stardom will help you out with your lineup. If you got any last-minute trade questions, anything about fantasy, please just let me know. We'll be back right after this.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Listen up, fantasy football owners. If you want top quality, guaranteed authentic sports memorabilia, there's only one place to go. Prestige Sports Marketing. They offer autographed baseball and football jerseys, framed jerseys, helmets, bats, photos, and amazing artwork. They're 100% guaranteed authentic, so you can feel 100% confident. Check out Prestige Sports Marketing at prestigesportsmktg.com. That's prestigesportsmktg.com. Enter promo code ESPN and get 10% off.
Fantasy football owners, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show is back every Sunday this season with everything you need to cruise into a championship. Join me, the professor,
and me, the commish, along with fantasy insider Matt Lowry. Get all your fantasy football news as we break down all the players and tell you who to start and who to trade while we take your calls all show long.
We'll see you every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. all season long here on 97.3 ESPN. Check us out on the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
And welcome back to the Pickle-Ian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry Brick the Commish. We are here talking about Week 3, getting you ready for your fantasy, the big fantasy game today. A lot of great matchups today. A lot of great fun to happen. A lot of great football to watch. So I hope everyone is having a great time with this stuff, because I sure am. I want to get into some reaches of the week to help you out. Any you may have gotten bit by the injury bug. You got some issues there. So hopefully we came up with a few players that might be able to help you out. If you started the season 0-2 and you need a long shot to pay off, we got a few of them down here for you. I'm going to start off with Nate Burleson versus the Titans. Yes, I believe in the Madden curse. It's been I haven't kept that hidden. I've been talking about that all preseason long. It is alive and well with Megatron, as he's been on the injury report daily with nagging injuries. Burleson has been on the field almost as much as Megatron last week, and Titus Young may still be in the doghouse. It definitely makes for a nice reach play here with Megatron getting all the attention. Love Leonard Hankerson today. Pierre Garçon is ruled out of today's game. And Hankerson was on the field for, I believe, 51% of the snaps last week. Could get the start over Aldridge for the Redskins, because they like this kid going deep. He's very quick. He was targeted 3 times deep last week and did catch a touchdown. So I do like Hankerson today as a reach play. I also like Mikel Leshoure. He's finally back from suspension. He is healthy. He's a very talented guy. The Lions face the Titans, who are very soft against the run. Leshoure is the definition of a reach. He might be working off the rust, but he's a shot to be big in Week 3. All right, guys? So got a few reach plays there for you. I got one more. How about Darrell Richardson versus the Bears? He did fill in admirably last week when Jackson went out and with that hamstring. If he's out again today, make sure you check the injury report, that last-minute injury report, to make sure. But if he's out, Richardson's definitely a guy you want to plug in there. I think he can produce some decent fantasy numbers for you. So all good stuff. Hey, guys, I got the The phone line's open, 877-511-1024. Also got the Skype line. If you've got a Skype line, you can drop us a line at 347-539-5402. You can always come into our chat room right here on blogtalkradio.com. Last segment I really want to get into, guys, is our studs, duds, and sleeper picks of the week. Talked about this a little bit on our ESPN show, and, I want to share it with you guys as well. Looks like my stud of the week is RG3. Goes up against the Bengals today. The Bengals give up about 325 yards passing per week. RG3, I think, gets it done in a big way today. My dud of the week is going to be Adrian Peterson. He faces the 49ers. If you haven't, please find a replacement. Okay? Love AP, but not against the Niners. I don't think he has any shot of getting much done. And finally, my sleeper of the week, Mohamed Massaquoi. He faces Buffalo. We and him seem to have a very nice chemistry, and Buffalo gives up the fourth most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. So definitely a guy you could look to put up some great fantasy numbers for you today. All right, guys, that's about all we have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Good luck today with Week 3. We'll be back again here next week at 11 a.m. Right here on blogtalkradio.com. We'll help you with all your stardom, sit-em questions, any last-minute lineup questions, any trade questions. You can also catch us a little earlier in the morning, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. at 97.3 ESPN.com. If you're in the Philly area, just tune in your radio station at 97.3 FM. We do our ESPN radio show. I'm alongside the professor, Mr. Steve Lynn, and fantasy insider Matt Lowry. And we go over all your injury reports, waiver wire news, trades, last-minute lineups, all the things you need to have a successful day in fantasy football. So that's all I got. We'll see you next week. I'm the commish. And listen, if you're not playing fantasy football, you're probably spending too much time learning how to crochet. All right, boys. Have a great day.
Turn out the light. The party's over.